been brought to you by Smith's Detection and the National Air Traffic Controllers Association.
My voice is the voice that guides you home safely each and every day.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I am the voice of the safest and most efficient airspace in the world.
I have to be 100% of the time.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a professional air traffic controller.
Hello, I'm Melissa Sabatine. Today we are one-on-one in the studio with Mr. Peter Berns. Peter serves as the Chief Executive Officer for the ARC, the world's largest community-based organization of and for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. As a leading provider of vital services and support for families and individuals, the ARC promotes and protects the human rights of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and actively supports their full inclusion and participation in the community throughout their lifetimes. The ARC works daily on behalf of the more than 1 million people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their family members, as well as in concert with a nationwide network of more than 700 state and local chapters across the nation. Peter came to the ARC with a track record of success in the areas of nonprofit management, governmental relations, and advocacy. As a public policy advocate, he was critical to reforming state and federal Medicaid regulations and improving life for persons with disabilities and their families. Peter is here with us in the studio today to discuss an exciting new initiative of the ARC called Wings for Autism. Peter, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you. It's an honor for us to have you here. I think most of us are familiar with the ARC, either through being a part of their services or fundraising. It's just a wonderful organization. And you're here today to talk about something that is really special to the airport community and the aviation industry as a whole, and something they can get involved in, Wings for Autism. Could you describe that program for us?
Sure, happy to talk about it. We're really excited about the Wings for Autism program and about working with your association and the airport and airline industry. Wings for Autism is a program that was born out of as a result of a very practical problem. There was a family, a mom, dad, and 2 children who were trying to go to Disneyland. And one of the kids had autism, and they saved up money for this trip, and they booked the reservations, went to the airport, and unfortunately, the child with autism was not able to successfully make it through the process of ticketing and security and boarding the plane. The result was dad and the 1 child without autism go on the trip, and mom and the child with autism stayed home. They came to one of our chapters in the Boston area, Charles River Center, and said, we need help with this. And so Charles River Center worked with Boston Logan and a couple of the airlines and created Wings for Autism. And what Wings for Autism is a travel simulation. Families that have an individual with autism, or for that matter, it could be with other types of intellectual or developmental disabilities, go through the full airport experience as a simulation, as a practice experience. So they arrive at the airport, they go through ticketing, get their ticket at the airline ticket counter, they go through security with TSA, they go up to the gate, wait in the gate, they go through the boarding process, listen to all the boarding announcements. And that lets families see whether their sons or daughters with autism or other intellectual or developmental disabilities can successfully make it through this process.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think all of us probably know someone with autism or someone who has a child with autism, or we've also been in the airport and we've seen children who you might think are misbehaving, but they might actually have a developmental disability. So could you describe kind of how things that the airport personnel need to look for and how they work with your organization to do the training?
Sure. And so part of the Wings for Autism program also includes a component of educating and training the personnel in the airport, both the airport personnel and the airline personnel so they can work more effectively with the children with autism and their families. You know, an airport can be a pretty daunting place for any of us, but for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities, autism, you know, the lights, the chaos, the noise level, the lines, the waiting, all those can be challenges, particularly for people with autism spectrum disorders. And so this really allows folks to really go through the experience in a controlled way, to become accustomed to it.
Now, how many airports currently are involved in the program, and what's your wish list, your goal for how many airports we could get involved?
We have big goals. So this started modestly, initially at Boston Logan and Manchester Regional Airport in Bradley International in Connecticut, in Hartford. So our chapter in Boston worked to get it up and running in those 3 airports. And we're hoping to bring it to as many airports as we can nationwide. And in 2014, we already have three airports that have events on the calendar, Jacksonville, Tulsa, and Seattle. And we have another 25, 30, in large part thanks to your involvement, another 25 or 30 in the queue to get events up and running this year, you know, starting in 2014. And typically what's involved with these events is really bringing together the airport, one of our local chapters of the ARC, the airline personnel and TSA to produce this event.
Well, our chair, Mark Brewer, as you know, has been a proponent of the program and was involved in one of the first initiatives, and we also have some of our other executive committee in Tulsa, Jeff Mulder, who's going to have one of the events as well. So they're out talking about this program and how to go about doing it. So what would you say if an airport calls us, what do we tell them to do? Like, direct them to get started?
Yeah, well, they should get in touch with our national office in Washington, D.C. Karen Wolf-Brannigan is the senior executive on our staff that is leading this effort. And then our staff will then work with the airport to pull together the team, what we call the WINGS team, which is the airport, it's our chapter, it's airline personnel and TSA personnel. And so we help do the matchmaking, bring them all together. We give them the playbook. We have the coordinator's guide, and we're going to work with your association to develop some more materials specifically for the airports and the airlines. And so we put it all in process and then let the local team do its thing.
Now, what does an airport need to know? Do they have to be of a particular hub size, or can small airports, general aviation airports participate? Are there any special parameters?
Well, I think the one major parameter is that the airport really has a commitment to being accessible to folks with disabilities and to working with their community in this type of collaborative fashion. I mean, this is really ultimately appropriate for all the airports that have passengers that are likely to encounter families that have individuals with autism spectrum disorders or other intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Now, this started originally for children, thinking about getting some children through security and the whole process, but there are a lot of adults who also struggle with maybe not autism but other developmental disabilities. Are they welcome to come and participate in the program?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the program was designed around the specific needs of individuals with autism spectrum disorders, but but it has been designed in a way that it is really open and appropriate for folks with all sorts of disabilities to take advantage of, both children and adults. So we really welcome people to come and get involved.
Great, that's wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to add or forgot to ask you?
Well, you know, I think one thing that's important for folks in the airport industry to understand is that, well, it is our intent to really develop and build out a fairly uniform model for how this program is executed around the country. We're also have built flexibility into the model. And so we know that every airport's a little bit different, that we're really coming into your home, and that we really need to work with you to make this event work in your community. And we have the flexibility and the commitment to do that, as do our chapters, and are really looking forward to developing long-term relationships with the airline industry and airport industry.
Well, that's wonderful. Congratulations on getting this off the ground, and we look forward to working with you. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
If you're an airport who wishes to learn more about how to participate in Wings for Autism, please visit the website listed on your screen or feel free to contact me here at AAAE. If you wish to make a monetary donation to grow the program across the country, please contact the ARC directly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Melissa Sabatine. We'll see you next time one-on-one in the studio.